The following program contains disturbing materials that may not be suitable for some resellers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Maybe I'm overthinking things a little bit here, but I think my approach to this whole storage unit thing is a smart one. Don't get me wrong, I'm not changing course on that, but I really think that maybe it was a little short sighted in how I'm trying to pull it off. And, my initial thought was, get the storage unit. One side, I'm just stacking stuff that I bring in from the pallets. Instead of bringing it here, I'm taking it to the storage unit. And then on the other side, I'm maybe going to put in some racks where maybe some of the slower moving things I'll store there, and then just go pick it up every day. But as you can see here, things were starting to get organized. We started with the transfer units, and then the toilet seats, and then we started bringing over stuff, which I haven't brought over everything from here yet. I'll tell you why in a second. But just woke up in the middle of the night and thought to myself, you're going to have a shit show in your hands here in the next week, and you need to get in front of it. So it kept me up. I usually sleep pretty well, but once I start thinking, not worrying, I'm not worrying at all, but once things start going through my head, maybe thinking about processes, it's pretty much over with as far as sleep is concerned. So I stayed up a little while. I pulled my phone out, did some reading about some things. And I'm out here this morning, and I think I'm going to change course a little bit in that I'm going to end up getting some racks. I think I'm going to get some racks for the storage unit. I just can't see a pile of stuff. I'm envisioning a pile of things just accumulating over the next week. I have a pallet today. I have one Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday I have to pick up. And then I have two pallets on Tuesday, but we're going to do the thing with Archie. He's going to come out and help me out with that, mainly because it's not worth picking up a U-Haul for the second half of whatever this lot is. Just get the good stuff out of this lot, and I got such a good price on the whole thing that that's kind of how we're going to play it. So I can just see that with 5 pallets, plus you can see here what I have currently at the house. There's gonna be a lot of stuff just stacked on each other. Even a 20 by 10, it's gonna be kind of difficult to navigate. So started doing some thinking here. The initial thought was gonna go over there every day, pull like 10 to 15 items, bring it home, and then list it. And then I started to think, I have two different accounts. One account is one where it's my main account. I'm putting all the good stuff on the main account, and the good functional stuff that has value is going on the main account. All the parts and repair stuff and or stuff that I part out goes on the secondary account. Well, if I blindly bring, say, 15 items from the storage unit over here, I might find that there'll be certain days that I'll have 10 of the 15 items will be good stuff. Like, wow, this stuff works great, looks great, has good value, goes on the main store. And then I'll have a couple items that might be fit only for the secondary store for parts or repair or parting out. That's kind of been my strategy, and it's worked out really well. I don't want to be in a position where what happens, like I bring home 10 to 15 items and almost all of them don't work or need to be parted out. And so I have all that stuff where I'm listing on my secondary account, I have plenty of stuff for that account, but I don't have anything to list on my main account. So now I find myself making another trip back down to the storage unit, blindly pulling 10 to 15 items into my car, bringing them here, and it's a crapshoot on which ones are going to work. Because with liquidation, you're looking at about 20% of the items just are not worth a damn, and you're going to be lucky to part them out, if anything. And sometimes parts are repair, but I don't want to be guessing where I might have 2 or 3 items to list on my main account. My main account is our bread and butter. I need to maintain the value that I'm putting into my store on a daily basis. So I started thinking, here we go, my mind, but thinking about processes, what would be the easiest way for me to pull this whole thing off? And I started immediately thinking, well, why don't I start testing these devices at the storage unit? And then I have a pile of stuff that is for parts of repair or parting for my second store, and a pile or area where I store the items that actually test out as functional and are good to go on my main store. But that unit doesn't have any electricity. They really don't want you working out of the storage units. I mean, we had a discussion with the lady who showed us the facility, and they do check. They don't want you really running your business out of the storage facility like some of these units that people have set up that you see on YouTube. They don't really want you doing that. But as long as you're in there, organizing or whatever you're doing, and I guess under the guise of that, I could go out and get a cheap $200, not a generator, but it's like a power bank that has like AC power where I can plug in some of these devices, not to test them out fully, because we're talking about a 600-watt unit max that I'm looking at, and it's more of just a power test. So does this thing even power on? So we're talking like coffee makers, we're talking things that are a lot of the electronics that I have, and right now, if I just pull them out of my storage unit, it's just sort of a crapshoot. So I'm thinking about maybe getting a table, uh, taking one of my folding chairs over there, and setting this. It's only a 7 pound device that you can plug this stuff into. It has pretty good, pretty good. What do they call it? Watt hours or whatever, where can. A lot of people use these for like making coffee or running their little external stove unit when they're going camping. Well, I don't need all that. I just need something that's going to allow me to power on and make sure the lights come on. Let's see, a coffee maker. Now, normally a coffee maker runs more than 600 watts, but I'm not trying to run the functionality of the coffee maker. I just want to see if it powers on, because a lot of these units, you get them, they look good, and they're just DOA. They don't even power on. So then that would allow me then at the facility to just sort these items based on which store they're going in. Functional, good value, store A, uh, broken, parting out, store B. And now I can say, okay, I'm going to take 7 to 10 of these good items, bring them here for the main store that they get listed today, and then here's these 5 items that I'm going to part out. Which a lot of times when you part an item out, it's usually 3 or 4 or 5 items within that SKU. You're parting out like a water tank, maybe you're parting out like a handle, or you're parting out various components of whatever the device is, and being able to have that, okay, to know that, okay, I'm going to come back here. Now I'm going to finish testing here. Like if it's a coffee maker, I'll do a water test, make sure that nothing leaks and everything looks like it runs the way it should, and it kind of helps clean the device anyway. Um, if it's a saw, I'm not going to try to use that portable thing to power it on. I'll bring it here. So I've got a lot of different things that I need to do, but to minimize the number of tasks that I have to do here that could require me to make a second trip, I think is the best course of action. So we're talking maybe adding a couple racks down the road, maybe adding a couple other racks on the left hand side for items that are slower movers that I can get out of here that are still listed. So that's kind of my game plan, guys. And I think that doing this whole thing where I'm going through and I'm just picking out what items I'm bringing home and acting on that, just maybe spending an hour at the facility just to test these things, like I laid out for you, might be the best way to go. And then I maybe have a list of what I like to do is I like to have a list of these things, what they are, and the model numbers and all that. So I get home, unload it, and now I go and create my drafts for those listings. So now I'm testing, I'm taking photos, and I'm putting them away. Of course, get my measurements and my weight, and I'm putting them away and launch the listing, and it's done. And I find that if I'm doing something in batches, like let's say I have 10 items, I know what those 10 items are, I know that they're functional, at least from the initial testing. So I'm making a listing for those, and then get them all done and processed, photos for all of them, get the weights for all of them, launch all of them. I feel like that's going to help me really stay A, focused, and B, it's really going to allow me to get through these things a little bit faster. So spending an hour at the facility might seem like a lot of wasted time, but I am getting that time back through my processes. So these are processes that I really don't have in place right now. Yeah, I'll make some drafts of things that I know I'm getting in these pallets, right? So I'll spend time making a draft for every single one of these units. But I find that like that 20% are not even listable. So I made a draft for no reason because it's broken. So wasted time is also in that equation. I'm wasting time by doing some of these things sight unseen. And I think I'm in a better place if I maybe take time to do an initial test of these items before I even bring them here. So a long rant, guys, but I guess the point of this whole conversation with you is to kind of tell you what I've learned, and that is a lot of times you're going to have a plan, and my plan is still in force, but you're going to have to really revisit that plan and make changes to that plan and modify that plan. And I'm probably not done modifying my plan, but what kept me up last night is something I needed to happen because I just cannot envision in 2 weeks walking into a storage unit and stuff's just falling all over me, and it's not even really functional at that point where I'm just grabbing random items, bringing it home, and hoping things are going to work out. And I don't want to make multiple trips to the storage unit a day. I want to make it a one and done type of thing. And the idea that I have all these items here, the initial thought was I was going to take everything to the storage unit and just kind of bring it here as I needed it. Then I thought, well, why am I making extra trips to the storage unit? Just go through the stuff you have here and then just bring stuff over as you need it. But I'm finding, guys, that even I just can't operate with all this stuff here. And so I'm going to take a good portion of it, probably half of it, and I'm going to put it in storage. And just like I initially thought. So sometimes we're making plans. It sounds good, but it's not really practical. And that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. So a lot of changes. And look, I look at your comments down below as well. So if you guys have a great comment that, you know what, maybe I've missed, I didn't think about, I've overlooked, maybe you're doing something similar with your storage unit and or other location where you're storing your items, certainly want to know your thoughts on this. Maybe your feedback can help me maybe implement something that I've overlooked here. So I'm learning as I go. I'm sure in a month that everything will be smooth sailing, but I think when you're implementing something way different than you're used to doing for the first time, you're going to hit some hiccups and things that are going to happen that are going to kind of give you setbacks. And that's why I'm kind of talking to you guys openly right now, because I'm hopeful that you can share some thoughts and ideas. Not to scrap what I'm doing, because I'm not going to change my course. I've decided that this is the way. I've actually signed up and paid for my storage unit, so that's still a thing. But to maybe improve my processes, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm trying to openly discuss that with you, and maybe you're going to suggest something that I don't follow. Don't get upset, but whatever advice you do have, please put that down below. Guys, if you appreciate this channel, if you enjoy the content that I try to put out and make time for throughout my day, I ask that you do a couple things for me. Hit the like button. That's the thing I always ask you to do so you can get your sale. But also consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell so that you can be notified when I drop another video or when we go live. So guys, that's it. Figuring out new processes, trying to make something work efficiently when you've never done it before is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent rest of your day. We will talk to you very soon. Take care.